Thank you for staying with us. Following last week's tragic train crash in Lagos, which left 6 persons dead and many others injured, the driver of the bus involved in the accident was transferred to the State Criminal Intelligence and Investigation Department for interrogation. The police commissioner in charge of Railway Command, Yetunde Lunge, ordered the driver be subjected to psychiatric and drug tests, while 44-year-old driver Oluwaseun Osinbajo is said to have begged for forgiveness. Survivors say he had his earpiece on while driving and ignored the directive of flag officer at the rail line. Let's share updates on the story with you.
As 8 a.m. on Friday, colleagues, friends and families of victims still in intensive care scrambled to get the latest information at the Lagos State Teaching Hospital in Agege. Some of them are directed to go to other wards and hospitals as some victims had been transferred. Thursday's accident is still a shock to a lot of people.
No, the total fatalities remain 6. 2 outside, 4 here in Lasuth. Nobody else has died between yesterday and today.
Now, the commissioner had also stated that some persons have been discharged already, which is good news for a lot of persons. Some persons have been discharged from Lasuth. About 19 persons have been discharged from the trauma center in Tollgate. 5 persons have been discharged, and in Agege, which is one of the general hospitals that patients were taken to, 8 persons have been discharged from that particular hospital. One of the first callers from the government is the wife of the president-elect, Senator Oluremi Tinubu. In company of the wives of the governor and deputy governor of Lagos State, Senator Tinubu met some of the victims. She's particularly impressed with the work the medical personnel have done in the last 24 hours and hopes for speedy recovery for those recuperating.
We can only wish them well and pray that things like this, God will, not let it happen to us. So Nigeria is really looking up to good times and a time of prosperity, and not this one. This is really, a blow to us.
Across political party lines, a number of Lagos residents trooped to the Lagos State Blood Transfusion Service to donate blood, although some could not because of underlying medical conditions.
Amount of cry, wailing noise can support this victim, except enough blood for those that have lost blood. So that's why I'm here.
The best I could do on my part is to give some blood, Unfortunately, the lady said to me after running the test that my blood levels are low, so I may just be slightly anemic.
While thanking residents for their patience and support for the medical personnel, the government insists investigations into the cause of the incident are at preliminary stages.
It's a bit too early to really get a full detail from most of the passengers or the injured persons, because as you know and you've seen some of them, a lot of them are in pain or have moderate to severe injuries. It's not a time for us to overstress them.
The capacity of those buses are 85 in number, with a sitting capacity of, I think, 45 and a standing capacity of 40. I think the bus was full to capacity because quite a number of people, due to the cash crunch situation, opted to go with the bus, which was free of charge.
The Lagos State emergency responders revealed that the accident occurred at 7:30 a.m. on Thursday. Emergency responders intervened at 7:45 a.m. They started a triage at the scene, which involved separating the bus from the train and rescuing persons. The first batch of victims were received at Lasuth at 8:10 a.m. Thereafter, a second-level triage was activated at the surgical emergency unit. Sarah Ayeku, TVC News, Lagos.
Jude, I think the driver should be subjected to thorough scrutiny, as recommended, because with what happened, I don't know what would have made a driver not to wait at that close range. The range was just too close for him to have calculated that that long bus would have sailed through before the train could make its way. And I'm sure the train would have been honking miles and miles away.
Yes, he's been subjected to psychiatric tests already, but we do not know the result of the psychiatric test. many Nigerians are walking around and they're actually demented. You see signs of it. Even your engagement with people on social media will prove clearly to you that it's not everyone who can call his name that actually knows what he's doing. Many people can't explain their actions. Many people are maladjusted, including even our leaders. Many of them are not, they can't pass a test of mental scrutiny. So there's no reason in the world for what the guy did. No reason. Absolutely no reason. Yes, it was early in the morning. That's usually what you call the early rush. But this one is an early rush to death. You cannot see a train approaching and not know what to do. You are a driver. That was why I was saying here that even the people hired to drive the BRT buses, whether for the government or for the private sector managers, have to be thoroughly scrutinized. It doesn't matter who is in charge. They have to be thoroughly scrutinized. We've seen amongst them rapists and murderers. There's the case of a woman that was...
The black boss.
Yes. So these people need to be checked. And then unnecessary overconfidence kills drivers. Even where we work, sometimes we talk to some drivers, they believe that, look,
especially if you feel you are driving any state government or any branded vehicle, because you are driving something that has to do with Lagos state government.
Even some of our personal drivers sometimes will not listen. They believe that they are already too good, that they've been driving for years. They will tell you stories that didn't start driving today. Because the survivors said they were telling this guy not to advance. But he didn't listen. They also said he had
earpiece.
Yes, he had earpiece, you know. But even with the earpiece, you still have to hear when people are telling you, don't take this, don't take this, because they will be screaming. But some of them just feel that, look, nothing can stop me. I'm too good at this job. And this is how...
It's part of the abnormalities we are talking about. How can you be driving with your earpiece? If you are driving with your earpiece, how will you know if your engine is making noise, or if anybody is owning, or if somebody is trying to show you
it's just terrible that this kind of unnecessary fatality has happened. Look at the innocent people that we have lost.
Yesterday I saw them burying
because of the carelessness and irresponsible behavior of a driver. You just caught, and you didn't lose your life.
Honestly.
You didn't lose your life. That's the painful thing. And you cause others to lose their lives. Look at the agony that people are going through, families.
I'm telling you.
And now you are apologizing for what you did on purpose. You knew that you didn't have to cross at that time. You knew that you had to wait. But you were too irresponsible that you didn't do the right thing. And now you cause people to lose their lives. You are now apologizing. I mean, nobody should listen to his apology. No, he has to pay for what he has done.
Manslaughter, this manslaughter.
Yes, it is. It's rather unfortunate, and my heart goes out to the families of those that lost their lives. The accident was avoidable, totally avoidable, and I totally agree with what Jido is saying. And that brings us to our recruitment system. Our recruitment system, not just, as he said, not just the drivers.
Nobody near that area.
Yes.
And those ones will die.
Nobody near that area will not sustain serious injury.
Because that's the point of impact.
Aluminium, iron.
That is the
fiber glass.
The point of and what happened was that the train hit that bus at Agege, but he dragged it up to PWD. That was what happened. No, of course, train cannot stop. You forgot it.
They took it about 100 meters or so.
A train cannot hit you and
stop because it doesn't have the capacity to stop.
Yes, the weight doesn't have the capacity to stop the train. So it hit the bus and dragged it further. So in the course of that dragging and the rest of them, there's more fatality and the rest of them. And I also think that in the course of that,
the trauma that people are going through
in the course of that,
honestly,
yes, in the course of that, you also
some will try to jump out.
That is what I wanted to say.
Yes, some
want to jump out from the window, because if you look at one of the videos, you will see a lady that was hanging. A lady was hanging by the window. She was already dead. So it is very, very idiotic of that man. And after I apologized, if you also recent interview, has been giving excuses.
It's a mechanical fault.
There's a mechanical fault. After he has already...
No, he doesn't want to go to
Yes, he doesn't want. He's not saying it's mechanical fault.
Didn't you see the policeman that killed the lawyer?
That is
Look how he did not even plead guilty.
So that is it. So
break failure is something
we
else.
Are talking about, we are talking about the bus driver. What about our policemen? It's not the same mentality. When somebody will carry a gun and out of nowhere decide to shoot somebody without any provocation. So those are the kind of this thing. But let us also, in the course of this, with so much sympathy, let us also say that accidents of this nature happen all over the world. Recently in Greece, there's a riot and protest going on in Greece where 2 trains, passenger trains,
derailed.
They didn't derail. They faced each other. They collided because of the negligence of a particular manager. I don't know what he did. For him to have allowed
air traffic workers.
That is it.
So those traffic workers.
Yes, and that trade, and over 60 to 70 people have been confirmed dead now because of that. But look at the other angle to it. The Minister of Transportation resigned immediately. He resigned. He wasn't the driver. He was not there. He resigned immediately. He said his conscience cannot allow him to continue. And that is the part of what we are talking about. You know, most often than not, you see people bringing human angle to some of this. We are not saying that anybody should resign.
Service.
But it is service. Yes, there is service.
So my service is no longer acceptable.
So that guy should not only be after the psychological, whatever they find with him, whether it's psychological or not, because I don't think a normal human being can do what he did. After that, he should be tried and jailed. The same thing happened around Yanopaja a few days ago, where one idiotic downfall driver took one way, drove one way, and hit a Corolla car. And the man died, the Corolla owner died instantly. They just 3 days. He got in Lagos here.
For no fault of
his. For no fault of his. The downfall guy took one way, faced the guy, hit his vehicle, the guy died instantly. Yanopaja here in Lagos. And when you see, that's why at times when I talk on social media, some people say, oh, CK, why are you talking about? When you see the government seizing vehicles flying one way and auctioning them, and some people come out to say, why would they auction that vehicle?
Yes.
This or this.
No,
These are
because of people
it's because of the politicized. It's not something to be politicized. You can't try that abroad.
We know of Lagos. We know of Lagos at the point in time that people were passing one way on 3rd Milan.
Yes, of course.
Those days.
That is only those days. They didn't the governor.
I'm even against this idea of giving them back those
vehicles. It should be confiscated. I totally agree. It should be confiscated.
I've said it before on this program that I went to the UK and my driver was taking me and was from Somaliland. And I told him, because there was one vehicle that was just messing up in front of us, he wouldn't just give way for us to pass. So I told him to honk. He said, what did you just say? You want them to take my license? So over there, you can't use your horn anyhow.
You can use it to single.
So he said, if I try it, this license that took me a long time to get is gone. So I can see that their society is only in matters of emergency, or maybe you are visiting a friend, his house is maybe on the 3rd, 4th floor. You can then use your car horn.
You don't hear there's ambulance.
You cannot. You can. So he told me, I can't do it. He said, I will never. So we just left that. We were going to Oxford. He just left the guy. The guy was misbehaving. We could not talk. The impatience of the Lagosian in me was already pushing me to tell him to.
You
did not listen to me.
You not only pass, you wind down and see. This is normal.
So even before, even when the person is at fault, he will still abuse you.
Yes, he still abuse you.
So it is the way of this generation.
It's quite unfortunate.